clear how if you're anything like a lot of other people, you've set yourself some New Year's resolutions, and it's worth a bet that at least one of those resolutions is to either lose weight, get healthier, get fitter, or some variant of that, to be better in some way. Now let's take a look at that weight loss one first. Now, weight loss, we have been taught to approach in a certain way. And in these next few minutes, I'm going to invite you to bundle up everything you think you already know about weight and weight loss and chuck it out the window. Because I'm going to give you a different viewpoint. Now, for the longest time ever, we have been told that weight gain is a problem. In actual fact, we should be looking at it more as a symptom. I'm in a very narrow office here, so I'll be dodging to each side. So weight gain as a symptom, not a problem. When our body gains weight, it's a way of it telling us that there's something deeper going on. So the conventional way of losing weight is things like you put yourself on a diet. Perhaps you even hit the gym. And you also have a tendency to deny yourself. I've run the whole gamut of, being the wrong body shape at various stages of my life. And I kept saying things to myself like, oh, I'll be happy when I lose a bit of weight, or I will start my business when I feel more confident in myself. But here's the thing. Weight, if we view it as a symptom, we can start to get curious. Why is the weight going on? And from my experience, the biggest culprit of weight gain is actually a lack of self-love. Here's the thing. When you really honor yourself, when you really love yourself, when you're really comfortable with yourself and you look after yourself, you cannot put shit into your body. It is impossible. When you really love yourself, you can't abuse yourself. So what's going on? Where's the disconnect between you being able to love yourself and the weight? Now, weight is gained through a variety of reasons, and I'm going to go through those individually, but let me just list them out now for you. There's 3 biggies, and the first one is emotions. So when I'm talking about emotions, I'm thinking mainly about things like food cravings and overeating. Because it's emotions. We are emotional creatures. Emotions are behind everything we do. So when we find ourselves overeating, we find ourselves wanting to gorge on the sweet, sugary, carby shit, what are the emotions attached to that? What emotion are we trying to mask? What emotion are we trying to feel? Now, the second thing is a bit of a biggie. And it's beliefs. What are your beliefs deep down about weight loss, about being slim? And beliefs tend to attach themselves to events. We gain beliefs. We we inherit a lot of our beliefs. So from our parents, from our peers, from our friends, from society in general. And we also base our beliefs on things that have happened to us in the past. So to give you an example of a belief around weight, it could be that in the past, particularly if you're a woman, you were very slim, and as a result of being slim, you perhaps gained a bit of unwanted attention. And that at some level made you feel a bit unsafe. Now, our unconscious's job is to keep us safe, and it's cottoned on to this. It's got hold of this memory of this event, and it's held on to it, and it's running a belief off it. And so that belief might be something like, it's not safe to be slim because I'll get unwanted attention. So no matter how much you diet, no matter how much you exercise, if you have a limiting belief about being slim, you are going to find it really, really difficult to lose weight, because your unconscious isn't going to allow you to get yourself into a position that feels unsafe. Now, the third thing is identity. The two most powerful words, I am. Are you saying things to yourself like, I am fat, I am overweight? Okay, think about the language you're using to yourself, because you're affirming it to yourself. An affirmation, we always think of positive affirmations, but actually we're saying affirmations all the time. It's just that unfortunately, because we're not thinking about it, those affirmations can be quite negative. So when you're continually saying to yourself, I am overweight, I am unlovable, I find it really hard to lose weight. Losing weight is a hard thing to do. A weight never stays off. You are affirming that to yourself on a regular basis, and you are giving yourself an identity. You are giving yourself the identity of someone who struggles to lose weight. You're giving yourself the identity of someone who is overweight. And because that then becomes your identity, your behaviours are going to adapt and change, and the identity will influence your behaviours so that you can keep that identity up. You can keep it going because it's who you are. You've told yourself that over and over. This is who you are. So we've got emotions, beliefs, and identity as the three major things behind weight gain and the inability to lose weight. Let's go into a little bit more detail with regards to that first one, emotions. When you are overeating, when you are craving something, I'd like you to have a think about what emotion it is that you are either trying to suppress, so anxiety, stress, overwhelm, or what emotion are you trying to feel? Happiness, calmness, whatever. There is a chemical in sugary, starchy foods that gives your brain a feel-good factor. It gives you that hit of dopamine that makes you feel better in the moment. And only in the moment, because hot on its tail is that feeling of regret or guilt. But in that moment, your brain got a hit of feel good, and brains love feeling good, and they will actively pursue stuff that gives them that quick hit. This is how addictions start. Your brain is looking for that feel good. So when you are reaching for that chocolate, or when you are about to hit the delivery button, because it's so easy to do that, isn't it? When you're about to do that, I'd like to challenge you to just stop for a moment. Just stop for a moment and ask yourself out loud, what emotion am I trying to mask? And is there a better way that I can release the negative emotion? Or what emotion am I trying to feel? And what is a better way to feel that? So think about the things that help you feel happy, stuff you love to do that doesn't involve eating a lot of chocolate or eating a cheeseburger. I love meditating. I love going for a walk. I love being outside in nature. So what can I switch in instead of going for the dirty burger? What can I switch in instead that is a much healthier option, but is still going to elevate my mood? A really good thing I found for me, and I can only speak from my point of view, but for me, putting some really good tunes on and having a bit of a boogie really helped to sort me out. And it takes just a moment. It doesn't cost any money. Now, you're probably sitting there thinking, well, okay, Claire, that's all well and good, but you know, the overwhelm for the food, the craving for that food is so powerful, I can't resist it. And I would challenge that statement, because you can resist it. You have control over yourself, whether you believe that or not. It's just in that moment in time, you are choosing to not control yourself. But when the intensity is so high, that choice can be really, really difficult. But here's where EFT comes in really handily, because EFT turns off the part of your brain that is sending you into that stress response, and it's that stress response that is helping that craving just to get bigger and bigger and bigger in your mind and in your body. I don't know about you, you can feel it. It's a physical urge, and EFT just helps to switch all that off. Now I'm going to include in the comments for this, I'm going to include a link to a chocolate craving video, because EFT is going to turn the craving off. But you have to give yourself the opportunity to stop, interrupt the pattern of going for whatever it is you're going for, and then using EFT. And here's the thing, if you don't, if you get that dirty burger, if you get that piece of chocolate, that's okay. Don't beat yourself up about it. The more you beat yourself up about it, the worse you're going to feel. And you're going to send yourself spiraling. Your brain is going to go, oh, I feel really bad. I need to feel better quickly. Eat some more chocolate. And you just spiral down. It's a vicious circle. It's a vicious circle. So if you do have the chocolate, if you do hit the Deliveroo button, other providers are available. And get yourself that dirty burger. It's okay. Forgive yourself. It's just a moment in time. And as you eat that, I'd like you to notice how you feel. Really notice how you're feeling as you eat whatever it is you're eating. Notice how you're feeling in your body. Notice the emotions that you're feeling. Notice how it tastes. Also notice if there are certain points of the day where you are more susceptible to needing that food. For instance, getting home from work. Not that we can do that at the moment. Getting home from work, or having spent a day working and feeling really stressed. Is it habit for you, unthinking habit, to just open the fridge and pull a bar of chocolate out? Or pour yourself a glass of wine, whatever it might be. And start noticing. Because if you can spot a pattern as to when you tend to need these foods, then you can preempt it. Before you get to the stage where you need the food, you can do some EFT on it using the video I'm dropping a link to. Now that video is specifically for chocolate, but if you're using it and chocolate isn't your poison, just replace chocolate with whatever it is. So if you're like me and your poison is a dirty burger, instead of saying the word chocolate, just say dirty burger. The same effect will happen. And just notice what happens to the craving. And get a handle on your emotions. What EFT stands for, Emotional Freedom Techniques. It helps you get a handle on your emotions. And once you've got a handle on your emotions and they are not ruling you, then you have real freedom. I'd like to take a little look at that second one. Beliefs. When you think about being slim or about losing weight, what's the story that's hot on its tail? Is it something like losing weight is hard, losing weight is difficult? Is it something like slim people are boring or mean? Is it something like we said earlier, it's not safe to be slim, I'll get unwanted attention? Beliefs are really, really powerful. They are incredibly powerful. People will die for their beliefs. People will kill for their beliefs. But here's the really cool thing about beliefs. Is they're just that. They're beliefs. They're not truths. And because they're not truths, that means we can change them. Our beliefs are something we often inherit. Our beliefs are moulded by predominantly our parents, because when we're sort of 0 to 6 or 7, we are like sponges. Our brain is in a very low brain state, low brain wave state, and it's almost like a hypnotic state, and we just absorb stuff. And that's how we learn to be a member of society. It's how we learn all the rules of the family, of society, of our culture, our country, whatever it is. Because if you can imagine being born and someone giving you a big fat book and saying, here you go, here's all the rules that you have to follow to be a member of the society, you wouldn't stand a chance. And so for the first few years of your life, you are deliberately a sponge and you soak up all the information you need so that you can be a member of the society, be a member of the family and know the rules, often unconsciously because they've just gone straight in. So have a think about your family's views about weight and weight loss. What are their beliefs? What did they say about slim people? What did they say about weight loss? Something that really caught me and smacked me on the arse was my mum would always say that when she hit 40, she just put on loads of weight. I heard it so often, I just kind of absorbed it. And when I hit 40, bang, suddenly loads of weight. I've taken that belief, that story that she kept saying, and because she's my mum, I implicitly trust her. It must be true because she's my mum. And my unconscious takes it on board. And it goes, oh, okay, you're 40, time to put the weight on. And you're going to find it really hard to get rid of it. Sorry, but that's just the way it is. But it's not. You have to ask yourself, I had to ask myself, where is my evidence that suddenly, come 40, you get fat? Where is my evidence for that? And it's hard to shift. My mum found that. Possibly because her mum said the same kind of things. Possibly because her mum said the same kind of things. And this belief just gets passed down. But take a look at Facebook or any of the social media groups, and you can see all these women who are much older than 40 who just look fabulous. They're going to the gym, they're working out. There's one woman, I don't know what her name is, but I think she's in her 70s, and she looks Amazing. So it's not a truth. It's not true that you will automatically put weight on at 40. It's not true that weight is really hard to lose. It's a belief. And once you start looking around for the evidence and questioning your evidence, then you start to see that perhaps it's not as true as you originally thought, and that's okay. It doesn't mean the person who gave you that belief is bad or stupid. It doesn't mean you're bad or stupid. You've just inherited this belief. It's not serving you. It's time to let it go. So have a little think about your beliefs, because your beliefs will determine whether or not you lose weight easily and keep it off. Now, if you are the sort of person who has done diet after diet and you've had some success to start with, but then it's all gone tits up, you have to start asking yourself, is it the diet, or is there an underlying symptom, like a belief, that is preventing you from losing the weight and keeping it off? It's like I said previously, if your unconscious thinks that slim people are mean, if your unconscious thinks that it's not safe to be slim, it's not going to allow you to lose weight. It's going to present that belief. It's going to run it like a tape in the background, showing my age there. It's going to run it like a tape in the background, on loop. And until you deal with that, until you clear that limiting belief, you are going to find it really hard to lose weight, because you're battling your unconscious. It's a battle between your conscious brain and your unconscious brain. And unfortunately, the unconscious brain has a 95% stake. It's going to win every single time. And that's where self-sabotage comes in. I don't know about you, but you perhaps get so far down a diet, you're doing really well, and then something just happens and you eat a cake or something, and you're like, oh, I've just ruined my diet. Why? I was doing so well. Why did I do that? Your beliefs have risen up in your unconscious, and they are quietly sabotaging your efforts to lose weight in an effort to keep you safe. Your unconscious isn't doing it to be mean as much as it feels like it is. It's doing it because it thinks it needs to keep you safe, and that's its only job. So have a think about what beliefs you have about weight, weight loss, and being slim. Identity. When you describe yourself, what do you say? I am overweight. I am someone who finds it hard to lose weight. I have always struggled with my weight. And how often do you say that? Because every time you say it, you are affirming it to yourself. And whatever you affirm becomes true to you. Doesn't mean it's truth, but it becomes true to you. And so you have to consider, you're giving yourself this identity. And this identity is important. It's who you are. It's part of that comfort zone, knowing who you are. So what do you think your unconscious's views are going to be about you changing that? If you're not someone who is overweight, if you are not someone who struggles to lose weight, who are you going to be? And how does that tie in with your beliefs? Let's do different colours. Let's go wild. When you are a certain way, where am I? There I am. When you are a certain way, when you are being a certain way, what do you then do? What actions do you take? How do you act? What's your behaviour? Oh, there I am. And what does that give you? What would you have as a result of that? So you have to be a certain way, you have to act a certain way to get what it is that you want. So, for instance, if you want a lot of money, you have to be someone, or a successful business person. You have to be a successful business owner first in your head. You have to act like them. You have to do the things that they would do. A question I often ask myself is, what would £1 million Claire do? I need to put on a t-shirt. What would £1 million Claire do? Would she sit watching a program on Netflix, or would she film a video? And what does that give me? So with regards to weight loss, we tend to approach weight loss with these things. We do it the other way around. We have a think about when I have a certain thing, then I'll behave a certain way, and then I will be that person. So we run on the have, do, be. So an example of this is, I'll be happy when I'm slimmer. I will start my own business, go for the promotion when I've lost a bit of weight. I will start dating again and find the love of my life and have a wonderful time and get a family once I've dropped a couple of stone. Can you see how that is holding you back? What would happen, do you think, if you acted as if you were already happy, as if you were already lovable, as if you were already worthy and deserving of promotion, if you were already good enough to start your own business? If you are running this model, there we go, have, do, be, it's all backwards for me. The have, do, be, if you're running that model, you're always going to be chasing this. It'll always be just around the corner. And with regards to this, with regards to all of this, if you're telling yourself that you will do something or be a certain way once you've lost the weight, there's a downside to being that way or having that thing or acting like that. And if you're thinking, well, there is no downside to losing weight, it'll be fantastic to lose weight, I'm going to challenge that. Because if there was no downside to the desired result, you would already have achieved it. So have a think about your reason why. Why are you wanting to lose weight? And then when you achieve that, say when you've lost the weight and you are then having to do that, or you're having to go for that job, or you're getting back into the dating game, or you're to start your own business, what's the downside of that? What's the downside of getting back into the dating game? What are you afraid of? What might happen? What's the downside of having the promotion? So the downside of getting back into the dating game might be that you feel a bit unsafe. You have to go and make conversation and be seen. And that may feel very unsafe to you in some way. If you're going for promotion, does that mean there'll be more responsibility, which would mean more stress, more work? So have a think about it. Have a think about why you're wanting to lose weight. And if you're saying, well, I just want to lose weight just for me, and you haven't yet lost the weight and kept it off, there's a downside there. And that downside, if you're doing it just for you, which I highly recommend anyway, everything you do should be for you and not for someone else. We're back at the identity. If you're wanting to lose weight for you, who will that make you? What is the downside of being that person? So have a think about that. Self-sabotage. We've all done it in some way, shape or form. We've all been here. Might be with weight loss, might be with something completely different, but we'll stick with weight loss because this is a weight loss video. Self-sabotage. This is very much linked in with the downsides of the thing that you want. And you really have to sometimes sit down and really think about the downsides, because they can be really unconscious, they can be buried quite deeply, and the downsides are likely to be based on things that have actually happened to you in the past, things you've seen happen to other people, or things that people have told you about. And it's just kind of gone in. Back to the beliefs. What is the downside? If you can figure out the downside and work on that, release that limiting belief, release that block. If you then remove the downside of the goal, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think you'll be more or less likely to achieve your goal? I think you'll be more likely. In fact, I know you'll be more likely to achieve it. The reason you don't have the thing that you want, the reason you don't, or you aren't the size that you want to be, is because your unconscious is perceiving a downside to it. So find out what that downside is, because that is one of the main symptoms. It's the downside that your unconscious is presenting because it's trying to keep you safe. So where did you get that idea from? Again, we're going back to what was happening in your life when you started putting on weight. What has happened to people you know when they've put on weight or been slim? Have a think about the downsides. Because there will be some. There'll be at least one, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this video. So I'd like to invite you to have a think about that. I'd like to invite you to think about weight and weight loss in a completely different way. And I'd like you to consider why it is so hard for you to lose weight on diets, on hitting the gym really hard, why it's a real fight against your willpower. It's just an ongoing battle to lose weight. The way you've been tackling it, the way you've been told to tackle it, clearly isn't working because you're watching me. So if it's not working, doing the same thing over and over and again and expecting a different result is Einstein's definition of insanity. So if what you're doing in the past, what you're doing now, has never worked before, not for any length of time, then maybe it's time to think of it in a different way. So don't think of your weight as a problem. Think of your weight as a symptom. What is your body trying to tell you? How is it trying to protect you? If you had to put a metaphor against your weight, what would that metaphor be? A really great one I had one of my clients use was her weight was like a suit of armour, and it was protecting her from all the pain and hurt that she'd experienced in the past. So with that being said, with that as her metaphor for her weight, that it was protecting her, suit of armour, how likely do you think it is that her unconscious is going to allow her to lose that weight? So just take a moment. Just take a moment to think about your weight in a different way. So I hope that's been helpful for you. If you would like to know a little bit more, I have included a link to a free ebook you can check out. And also I do have an 8 weeks to weight loss online course, which has all sorts of great things in there. There's webinars and workbooks and audios that you can tap along to, and there's some really great bonuses. So if you'd like some more information on that, you can just click the links below and find out more.